Welcome back to the NSAA State Baseball Tournament. It's brought to you by Southeast Valley Irrigation, a Valley dealer in Bruning, Certified Truck and Trailer Repair in Geneva, Kennel Seed and Ag in Davenport, Sapp Brothers of Philly, Crete Lincoln in Hanover, Kansas, and Crete Ace Hardware, helpful hardware folks. Our third inning adjustment of the game brought to you by Tatro Chiropractic in Fairbury and Deschler. One of the adjustments that I would personally make is make these at-bats a little bit longer for Cale Lade, who's had some short at-bats. He's had one pitch at-bat and one two-pitch at-bat and two one-pitch at-bats. First pitch was down low and a ball. It's 1-0. Second pitch in the dirt as well for ball 2 to John Hood, who's batting 7th in the order, playing center field. Plays for the football team as well. Funny enough, he forced a drop pass against Waverly earlier on this season. Maybe he can make a big impact offensively like he did in football, except that one was defensively. He's really good at wide receiver and cornerback, and he's ahead 3-0 in this count. He's also a pitcher, and he hit 91 miles per hour in December. That pitch down the chute, 3-1. Actually, a lot of these guys in the wintertime posting on the Norris Twitter about how they were able to hit velocities like 91, 92, 93 miles per hour. That one's cracked right through the gap in between the shortstop and the second baseman. Zach Schwung, the second baseman, dove for it, but it goes out into center field, and it's a base hit for Norris. Their first of the game comes from John Hood, who's on first base with no outs. Bryce Fountain comes up, the brother of Cale Fountain. Both of these guys grew up in a baseball family. His brother Cale is going to LSU. Cale committed to Florida State 8th grade, switched his commitment to LSU. He'll be going there. Now his brother, Bryce, committed to Nebraska as an 8th grader. He'll be playing in Lincoln as it stands. First pitch up high, 1-0. This is the first time that Cale Lade, pitcher for the Vikings, has experienced a runner on base for Norris. And now he's a lefty, so he's facing first base. I wonder if that will end up affecting him at all, being able to see John Hood at first. He checks on him. John Hood slides back safely. Wonder if Hood, one of the things I saw when I was watching Hastings against Fairbury just a few weeks ago was one of the runners was going up against the lefty on first, and he was kind of taunting him a little bit as that pitch inside, 2 balls and no strikes. He was taunting him and kind of running a little bit, kind of faking like he was going to go, jumping up and down. He was trying to get in the head of the pitcher, and it ended up working. There was a balk in that game. This one's popped up by Fountain and foul. 2-1. Alex Small is on deck. He's the 9-hole hitter. So we're almost through the order for Norris here in the top of the third inning. No score between Waverly and Norris. They check on the runner at first, and once again, Hood slides in there safely. So once again, Lade will look down Hood, wonder if he wants to throw it to first. He'll throw it to the plate instead. And Fountain fouls this one off again. So it's 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and Lade has worked himself back into this at bat. And a guy that, and Bryce Fountain, who has really had his fair share of baseball play throughout his life, and will probably have his fair share for a while. This one's grounded through the gap in between second and third base. Bryce Fountain gets a base hit here in the third inning. And Norris is starting to figure out how to get past Cale Lade here. Hood advances to second base. Fountain is on first. Great piece of hitting by Bryce Fountain, who was ahead 2-0 in that count. Hit 2 foul balls and got one right where he wanted it. Grounded it straight past the shortstop, Elke. So now it's Alex Small, the basketball point guard for Norris. Hitting in the 9-hole. He shows bunt and bunts down the third baseline, and it's going to go foul. So Alex Small trying to advance the runners in a scoreless game here in the third. So, by the way, if you're just joining us, like I said, no score. Couple base runners for Waverly. First base runners for Norris came in this inning. You got John Hood, the center fielder, on second. Bryce Fountain, the first baseman, is on first base. Alex Small will show bunt again and take a strike down the chute. It's 0-2. So first he tried to bunt it down the third baseline, went foul. Now he couldn't get contact on that one, and he's suddenly in a tricky situation here against Lade. Now what Norris doesn't want to have happen is a ground ball into a double play. And right at the last second, Small calls time. Now if Small can get on base, you got Logan Michael, the leadoff hitter in Norris's lineup, due up. And then you got Cale Fountain, so it's not looking good for Waverly if they can't get an out here. And that off-speed pitch is outside. It's 1-2. So far, Cale Lade has held his own. First 2 innings, didn't even allow a hit against Norris. An offense that scored 10 runs on him one of the times this season that they've played him. Ground ball down to the third base line. It goes right past the glove of Brendan Miller. Rounding third and coming home is going to be John Hood, and he scores standing up. That was a mistake by Miller as a ground ball on the third base line was not able to be played on the backhand by Miller, the third baseman. It's an RBI single for Alex Small, and Norris is up 1-0 in this game here in the third inning with still no outs. We're going to get a mound visit as well. Actually, yes, this is going to be a mound visit. So Hood is able to score and make it 1-0 Norris. Bryce Fountain can only advance as far as second base. Alex Small is at first with an RBI. Phenomenal piece of hitting by Alex Small, who tried to bunt for the first 2 pitches, was down 0-2 in the count, and managed to still get an RBI, which ends up being his 14th of the season. So it was just a little bit of a mound visit to calm down Cale Lade after he's given up a few back-to-back-to-back hits, 3 straight to be exact. This game, though, on All Red is brought to you by Plymouth Irrigation and Plymouth Electric, Wells Implement in Plymouth, Norris Public Power District, and Nebraska Land Tire and Service in Crete. Here's the leadoff hitter in the order, Logan Michael. Fouls one back, and it's 0-1. 2 runners on right now for Norris, 1-0 in the top of the third. No outs yet. Cale Fountain is on deck. Now into the windup, Lade checks on second. Throws the pitch. It's a bunt. Lade's going to have to make the play. Picks it up, throws it to first. It's a wide throw. It's into the right foul territory. Scoring is going to be Fountain. Also coming around is Alex Small, but he's going to be out. He's out at the plate. So Bryce Fountain scores from second. Alex Small tried to score all the way from first. He's tagged out by Drew Cook, the catcher. Going to second base, though, on the mistake by Cale Lade is Logan Michael. I think that's going to go down as an error on the pitcher. So it's still 2-0 Norris. It was a bunt by Michael, and running down the third baseline and having to get all the way there from the mound was Lade. Lade then threw it way wide of the first baseman, Bruin Sampson, and it went all the way into the right foul territory, being able to score 1 run before it was a great throw by, I believe, Nolan Motts out in right. He made the throw to the catcher, Drew Cook, to tag the runner out. A little bit of chaos on that play, but it's 2-0 Norris. And now there's 1 out. Cale Fountain swung on the first pitch previously in the first inning, takes one down the chute there, and it's 0-1 to Fountain. Fountain going to LSU to play for the Tigers, defending national champions. Fouls that one off, and it's 0-2 to Fountain. Cale Fountain has been unbelievable. Coach Bartholomew says he's always been a mature kid, even as a freshman. I mean, he committed to a college to play baseball in 8th grade. I think you have to be pretty mature to do that. That's going to hit Fountain right on the leg. Fountain gets hit by pitch, and he's on first base. He was down in that count, by the way, with 2 strikes. But he's on first now. So Fountain, Cale Fountain, to be specific, is on first. Logan Michael is on second. Here's Joden Monroe coming up to bat. He flew out to center back in the first. 2-0 Norris here in the third. Cale Lade still doesn't have a strikeout yet in this game on a Norris hitter. And we have some players going out into the bullpen to warm up for Waverly. The first pitch was up high, though. It's 1-0. Next pitch, right at the knees there of Monroe. It's 1-1. Infield playing in just in case there's a bunt. I think if Monroe gets anything over the infield, that's going to be at least a run scored. It would probably score Michael at second. This pitch is cracked out into center field and deep. This one is going to drop. Hunter Tomes couldn't get to it. Rounding third and coming home is Michael, and he's going to score. Norris up 3-0. An RBI single for Jordan Monroe. That one looked a lot harder hit than it actually was. It actually dropped in shallow center field, but it does bring home a run. Norris is now at a comfortable 3-0 lead. They scored 3 runs in their win over Waverly just a couple weeks ago in 9 innings. Already have 3 here in the top of the third. Big piece of hitting by Jordan Monroe. Here's the pitcher, Crew Moeller, taking off and trying to steal. Wow, Norris attempts the double steal, and it works out. Wow. Cale Fountain and Jordan Monroe go with the double steal. Fountain goes from first to second. Monroe goes from Cale Fountain goes from second to third. Monroe from first to second. That is just some great team chemistry there to know that the double steal was coming. This one's cracked out deep into left field. This one is going to be caught, though, I believe, by Garrett Ryan out in left. Tagging and scoring from third is going to be Cale Fountain. And Norris is up 4-0 in this game on a sacrifice fly by Crew Moeller for the second out of the inning. So 2 down, 4-0 Norris. And staying on second base, by the way, was Jordan Monroe. He couldn't advance. It was the catch made by Garrett Ryan. Norris taking control here, taking command in this third inning. Trying to have the day off tomorrow and play on Wednesday, where they would only have to win 1 game to advance to the state title game. So Logan White comes up to bat. Grounded out to third base back in the second. And I believe time is called. Logan White, the UN Kearney commit to play football. First pitch in the dirt, 1-0. You wonder what's going through Cale Lade's head right now. He was just doing excellent in the first 2 innings. Didn't allow a single hit, and now he's allowed 4 runs here in the third. 1 ball, no strikes. Checks on the runner, Monroe, and delivers a pitch that's fouled off on the third base line. Well, this game is brought to you by AgWest Commodities, your marketing partner. Go online at goagwest.com. Complete Insurance is proud to support the Norris Titans and Titan Nutrition in downtown Hickman. So 1-1 is the count to Logan White. Grounded down the third base line. Scooped up on the backhand. Looks like it's foul, though, as Miller was going to have a tough play if that stayed fair. So it's a ball and 2 strikes with 2 down. Brody Hoover is on deck. And Brody Hoover's had a pretty good season when it comes to bringing home runs, 20 RBIs, so I think he'd want to come up with a runner in scoring position if he can. 1-2. Pitch down in the dirt. Trying to steal third base is going to be Monroe, and he gets in there safely. Monroe has now stolen 2 bases in this inning alone. But that pitch was low and in the dirt. Drew Cook couldn't really properly get his glove on it, and it was Monroe who took advantage of it. Now he's standing at third base. So Logan White can bring home another run. That pitch is low and a ball. So I think it's a full count, 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the third inning, it's 4-0 Norris over Waverly. By the way, Norris is 2-0 this season against Waverly. This one's fouled off. Still 3-2. They played kind of a little bit further down or a little bit farther than the middle of the season. Norris winning that one 10-0. And they just played a few weeks ago with Norris winning 3-2 in 9 innings. So that one was a lot closer than the first meeting. You'd expect this one to be the same. Well, that one is fouled off and hit the hand of one of the assistants down there, I think. I don't think that was Coach Bartholomew. It's like he's smiling right now, so I think he's okay, but full count pitch. That one is cracked on the left field line, and it's going to get down. Or I think it's foul. My apologies. Every time a ball is hit on the left field line, I actually have no idea what's happening because I can't actually see down the left field line, unfortunately. So I'm going off of what the umpire is saying. That one was foul, though. So still 3-2. Like I said, Hoover is on deck. And Cale Lade just wants to get out of this inning with no more runs allowed. Already 4 in this inning off a few RBIs by the Titans. One of them from Alex Small. Another one off an error for Logan Michael. RBI for Jordan Monroe. Here's the pitch, just a tad high. It's a full count ball there for Logan White. He gets walked. So now runners on the corners for Brody Hoover. Like I said, he likes bringing home runs. 20 RBIs this season. That is 4th on the team, though, but it's behind some pretty good guys like Crew Moeller with 23, Cale Fountain with 26, and then an unbelievable 39 for Jordan Monroe. Now that guy can bring home runs. They'd want to bring him up. He's actually on base already, though. They're going to check on the runner at first. Wow. I don't think Logan White expected that. And if that throw was just at the perfect position, that would have been an out. Kind of something similar as to what happened in the first inning for Moeller against Waverly. They check on first again. So he does the same thing that Crew Moeller did in the first inning when he got the out, where he first checked on first by throwing it high, then second threw it perfectly and got the out. This time, though, it doesn't work. That one beautifully placed just above the belt for strike one. Hoover grounded out to short back in the second. Last inning, funnily enough, Norris has just been playing excellent here in the third. Next pitch is a beaut. Breaking ball right in the heart of the zone. It's 0-2. I see Coach Bartholomew saying something here to Hoover. Runners on the corners, 2 outs for Hoover. Norris up 4-0. And taking off and stealing second base. Wow. Literally taking off and stealing second like he was allowed to do that was Logan White. Cale Lade looked at Logan White as he was stealing and I feel like he was in shock by how casually Logan White just took off and stole the base. Took him a minute to react. But it is another stolen base. Runners now on second and third. That pitch down low, though. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Drew Cook now is going to visit his pitcher, Lade. And he gives him a pat on the back. So 2 down, by the way. Runners on second and third. Logan White is on second. Jordan Monroe is on third. Brody Hoover, 20 RBIs this season, trying to make it 22. Here's the pitch. That was a high fly ball into left field. This one is deep, and it is caught by by Garrett Ryan. Like I said, cannot see down the left field line. It looked like that one was well hit, but not hard enough. It's a fly out to left, but 4 runs are scored from Norris, courtesy of a few RBIs from Jordan Monroe as well as Alex Small. Norris up 4-0, heading to the bottom of the third on Ole Red. Welcome back to Ole Red's broadcast of the NSAA State Baseball Tournament, brought to you by Crete Area Medical Center, Wilburn Front Medical Clinics, Smith Auto in Pawnee City. Learn more at smithautoane.com. And Tim Hartley with Hebron Tree Service. It's 4-0 Norris, leading it over the Waverly Vikings, who pulled off somewhat of an upset over Beatrice over the weekend. I wouldn't say 5 over a 4 seed is too much of an upset. But if Norris were to lose this game, I think that would be a pretty big upset committed by Waverly, as Norris would have to go back down in the losers bracket and play Lincoln Northwest, who they beat 13-2 on Saturday. So it's 1-1 immediately right off the bat. Looks like for Waverly, it is Brennan Miller, the 8-hole hitter. Takes a strike, beautifully placed, 1-2. It'll be Brennan Miller, Garrett Ryan, and then the top of the order, Hunter Tomes, who was walked back in the first. Those are the three guys at least that can come up for Waverly in this inning. This one's cracked in the infield. Cale Fountain, what a play. Makes the catch right next to the second base bag, all the way from short. And Cale Fountain makes a nice play. That's one down here in the bottom of the third inning. Still 4-0 Norris. Garrett Ryan comes up to the plate for the Vikings. Batting .298 this season. One of the few guys on this team that's actually batting under .300, and that's not anything against him, but it just shows how impressive his team is offensively. That a lot of them are hitting over .300. Takes one inside. It's 1-0. Crew Moeller has the only strikeout of the game. Cale Lade has none yet. Oh, that one's going to hit Ryan right on the backside there, and Ryan is hit by pitch. First hit by pitch of the game for Crew Moeller. So that's going to bring a runner on first base now, and Hunter Tomes comes up to bat, who was walked in the first, but thrown out on a check back by Moeller on first. Moeller actually checks on the runner at first on Ryan. Ryan's in there safely. So now, unless there's a double play, it would be Tomes, then Landon Elke, who was also walked back in the first. Now, Moeller is a righty, so he has to kind of look behind him to check on the runner at first. That pitch just low. 1-0. So far, there's been 2 hit by pitches in this game, one by each pitcher. Cale Lade hit Cale Fountain last inning. That pitch nicely placed right above the belt. 1-1. Now, Cale Lade and Cale Fountain not spelled the same. Cale Lade, K-A-E-L. Cale Fountain, K-A-L-E. Now, Moeller's going to check on the runner at first. What a great throw, but heads-up play there from Ryan to slide back in there safely. So still a ball and a strike here with one down in the bottom of the third. Norris up 4-0. Ooh, that pitch just a tad low. Logan Michael did a good job there to make it seem like that one was a strike, but 2-1 now. Loser of this game plays tomorrow morning against Lincoln Northwest, who upset Beatrice earlier on this morning. Winner will have the day off tomorrow and will play on Wednesday, needing just one win to go to the state final. That pitch up high is 3-1. So Tomes trying to draw another walk here on Moeller. Tomes and Elke are the only two to draw walks in this game on Crew Moeller. Here's the pitch. Popped high up in the air, and this is going to go foul. Oh, that actually landed. I think that landed on the top of the building. Or it landed somewhere around here, but it's going to be a full count at 3-2 now. I think if I was Moeller, I would probably attack the strike zone here with a fastball. He goes with a fastball, but it's up high for ball 4. And a full count walk thrown by Crew Moeller to bring Tomes on first. Garrett Ryan, after being hit by a pitch, goes to second base. And Waverly, they now have a runner in scoring position for the first time this afternoon. The farthest those guys have made it, or any Waverly hitter has made it so far in this game, has been first base. Now they have a runner on second, trailing 4-0. Now here is Elke, like I said, coming up to the plate. Moeller checks on second, delivers, fouled off, 0-1. So after this game, remember Norris is playing on the top half of the bracket. On the bottom half, Elkhorn North and Gretna East will play after this. First pitch set for 6:30 p.m. That's at the bottom of the bracket. Blair took down Plattsmouth to eliminate the Blue Devils earlier on this morning. Fouled off. It's 0-2. So the two teams that are eliminated as it stands here in Class B are the Beatrice Orangemen and the Plattsmouth Blue Devils. Two teams in the elimination bracket as it stands is Lincoln Northwest and Blair. And then you got the four teams, including Norris, Waverly, Gretna East, and Elkhorn North, who are playing in the winners' games after winning over the weekend. 0-2, the pitch. That is a beautiful pitch, but just a tad outside. The Norris fans started cheering as though it was a strikeout, just a tad outside. It's 1-2. Still, though, Moeller, if he can get a strikeout here, would be in a good spot. A ball and 2 strikes with 1 down. Runners on first and second, and a 4-0 Norris lead. Moeller nods his head to catcher Logan Michael. Checks on second quickly. Delivers the pitch, and it's fouled off for the third time in this at-bat by Landon Elke. Now, the thing that Elke would want to do is make Moeller have to struggle to get these outs. That's what actually the entire Waverly team would want to do. Make things tougher on these guys. Still a ball and 2 strikes, though. Moeller delivers. That's down in the dirt. Good job to block, but then throwing to third after a steal attempt. Great block there from Logan Michael, but both runners take off as the pitch was in the dirt. Michael blocked it, but not well enough. So Hunter Tomes steals second base off a pitch that was in the dirt. Garrett Ryan steals third. Now there's runners, both of them in scoring position for Waverly. It's not going to go down as a wild pitch. It was just a heads-up play by the 2 base runners to make the play. It's 2-2, even count. The pitch. Just a tad down low, and Norris fans wanted the strikeout there, but even from my vantage point, I saw that was low. So it's a full count, and this pitch could load the bases for the Vikings of Waverly, with Drew Cook coming up to the plate. He does have a homer in the season, by the way, Drew Cook. And calling time is Elke before the full count pitch. Moeller's ready for it. Here's the 3-2. Down in the dirt, check swing by Elke. It's a walk. Waverly now has the bases loaded. How the tables have turned in this game. Norris with a dominant top of the third. Waverly have the bases loaded with only 1 out. And it looks like we're going to get a mound visit here by Coach Bartholomew. So this is going to be a very interesting call here by Coach Bartholomew as to how you want to go about this. Bases loaded, no outs, or excuse me, 1 out. You got a guy like Drew Cook coming up, a junior, so he does have experience, batting .324 this season. Well, these teams have had recent runs to the state tournament, but it took both of these teams a little bit to make one. Now, Norris was created in 1964 as a school district. Didn't make it to state, or actually made it to state, funny enough, in 67 and 68. Lost in the title game in both of those appearances. Didn't make the state tournament for practically nearly 50 years until 2010. But now they've made it for 13 straight seasons with the exception of the COVID year. And they've lost in the title games, and a few of those as well. 8 runner-ups. And 1 title in 2013 when they beat Pius X 3-2. We'll get to Waverly after this first pitch here to Drew Cook. Down in the dirt. That one skipped up. It's 1-0. Now walk would bring in a run, by the way. I want to mention that Waverly was created as a school district in 1960. Didn't make it until 2011. Now has made it 6 out of the last 12 years. Making it to the title game just a few years ago in 2022, losing to Elkhorn North 2-0. In their first ever title game appearance. Fouled off, it's 1-1. Great pitch there from Moeller. So like I said, though, both of these teams having recent success compared to how things were earlier in their school history in baseball. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. The pitch. Great off-speed pitch. Swing and a miss there. I think that was actually foul tipped. Still, it's 1-2. because you got to be careful if you're Logan Michael, because any ball that goes behind you, whether it's a wild pitch or a pass ball, could bring home a runner from third, which right now is Garrett Ryan standing there. So Ryan is on third, by the way. Tomes is on second. Elke's on first. Drew Cook is up at the plate with one down and a 4-0 Norris lead. The pitch. Great play to foul that one off by Cook. Barely fouled that one off, and still ball and 2 strikes. That was a high fastball. This is situations in the state tournament that these are really indicators of how much mental fortitude a pitcher has. Pitch just inside, 2-2 is the count. I mean, this is a test for Crew Moeller, though. Norris fans aren't the only one watching this. I'm sure a lot of scouts are watching this situation. Can you get through this situation with the bases loaded with only one out? Here's the pitch, the 2-2. Cracked out into left field and deep. This one is deep, and it's caught out in left. Tagging and scoring is going to be the man from third base, Garrett Ryan. It was caught, though, by Jordan Monroe, the left fielder. So Cook is out on a sacrifice fly, which scores a run for Waverly. Both runners stay put, though, on second and first. But it's Waverly who scores their first run of the game. Garrett Ryan scores on a sacrifice fly, and it is now 4-1, Norris in the lead. That was not a bad thing to have happen for Norris. Now third base is open, so Moeller has to be cognizant of Tomes potentially trying to steal third. He's going to check on him at second. What a heads-up play. They almost got him. It looked like the tag was applied by Logan White, but not quite. So it was Moeller who was anticipating the steal attempt by Hunter Tomes over at second. He acted like he was going to pitch the ball, threw it back to second base to Logan White, the second baseman, and Tomes barely got back. Moeller actually thought he was out. He started celebrating, realized the call was safe, and then kind of shouted, "What?" He was like, that wasn't an out. Either way, though, it's still 2 outs. A pitch has not been thrown yet to Bruin Sampson, the first baseman, who is at the plate. Here's the pitch. That one's inside and behind the catcher, Logan Michael. It's a wild pitch by Crew Moeller, his first of the game. And that is going to advance both runners. So Tomes, who knows if he was going to steal second or steal third anyways. He ends up getting there anyways. Elke is going to get to second base. Once again, both runners are in scoring position for Waverly. The Vikings trying to at least get themselves back within a few runs. This one is cracked, and that is going to get right into shallow right field. Scoring from third is going to be Tomes. Scoring from second is going to be Elke, and Waverly is back to within a 1-run game. It's an RBI single out into shallow right field by Bruin Sampson, and it's 4-3 Norris, but the Vikings are right back in things. Great play by Bruin Sampson. That's his 21st or 20th and 21st RBIs of the season, by the way. So it's 4-3. Next man up is Eli Russell, the DH. Runner is on first, by the way. First pitch inside, ball 1. Now, from the vantage point that I had, I can't quite see the bullpen for Norris. I would assume there probably would be some action going on in there. Here's the 1-0. Just inside again. 2-0 count. Going to get a mound visit here from the catcher and Michael. I think his goal right there was to just come out there and say, hey, you're good. You're throwing these where you want to. You're not getting the call, but that's okay. Just trying to get his pitcher, Moeller, out of the inning with only 3 runs allowed. Norris does still have the lead, which is the positive. And they come up to bat in the 4th after an incredible 3rd inning. This pitch is fouled off barely And it's 2-1 is the count. Well, we expected a game like this to be close. I mean, Beatrice was a good team. I was able to watch them play just a few weeks ago against Omaha Concordia in the district final, and they impressed me with their pitching and their hitting. And that pitch, by the way, down in the dirt makes it a 3-1 count. But Waverly has always kept games close the entire season. I mean, some of their losses have been to some really good teams like Elkhorn North, Norris twice, Lincoln Northwest, who is on a little bit of a hot run right now. 3-1 pitch in the dirt. It's a 5-pitch walk. So Russell is at first. On second is Bruin Sampson, and it seems, and we're going to get another mound visit here by Coach Sean Bartholomew. Took over in 2017 for the Titans, PE teacher in the intermediate school. Got his 100th career win as a coach over Blair back in April of of 2 seasons ago in 2022. Well, that'll be that for Crew Moeller, who finishes off the game, pitching a little less than 3 innings, 2 2/3 with a strikeout, hit by pitch, and a wild pitch. He gave up 3 runs and a few walks as well. We'll be back for our new pitcher coming up next on Ole Red. Welcome back to the Ole Red 99.5, or Ole Red 99.5's coverage of the state baseball tournament, following Norris here after their big win over Lincoln Northwest on Saturday, and a pretty comfortable 13-2 win in the first round. They're here in the winner's game going up against Waverly, who took down Beatrice 8-5 on Saturday. It was a great third inning by the Titans on offense, 4-0 lead they grabbed in the middle of the third. Yet Waverly has fought back and has made it 4-3 after a few walks by Crew Moeller. He exits the game, finishing with 1 strikeout, 3 runs allowed in 2 2/3. And it's going to have to be up to Porter Dutter, the senior, to get out of this bottom of the third inning. I'm sure that Coach Sean Bartholomew would be hoping that he can get out of this quickly so that he can come up in the 4th, maybe even the 5th. Porter Dutter is the ace on this team for Norris, the senior, 4-1-1 record. His ERA is .44. That's less than 1. That is just incredible. No player on this Norris team, by the way, has an ERA less than 1. Only one player on Waverly has an ERA less than 1. That's Bruin Sampson, who's playing in first base today. Dutter's pitch is in the dirt on his first pitch, but it's 1-0. Great play by Michael to cover that. Make sure that one didn't get past him. Dutter played a few summer tournaments for the Hickman area team. Hickman is where Norris practices. As that pitch just a tad outside, it's 2-0. By the way, Nolan Maz is up to bat for Waverly. Reached on an error back in the second inning. 2-0. Just low. It's 3-0. And this could load the bases again, by the way, for Zach Schwang, who would be on deck for Waverly. Schwang this season has no homers but does have 9 RBIs. He would have bases loaded. Here's the 3-0. That one's right down the chute and a strike. I was actually about to say, I wonder if Motts will just allow this one to go, to not even be swung at, just see if Dutter can actually hit the strike zone on that one, and he did. 3-1 now. Let's see if Motts will swing at one if it is in the strike zone. 3 balls, 1 strike. Here's the pitch. He does swing at it down the right field line, and this is going to be fair, and it's going to be lethal. Coming from second and home is going to be Bruin Sampson. Coming from first and coming home is Eli Russell. And all of a sudden, Waverly leads at 5-4. It's an RBI double for Nolan Motts right down that right field foul line. Impossible to get for Brody Hoover. And on a 3-1 pitch, Motts got it right where he wanted it. And Waverly suddenly has grasped the lead out of the depths. They were down 4-0 heading into this inning. Now they lead 5-4. This one's cracked, and a diving catch at third base by Alex Small. What a catch by Alex Small. He dove and caught it for the third out on the first pitch to Zach Schwang. But we have quite the ball game now. Waverly goes completely through the order in the third inning, just like Norris did, yet they score one more. 5-4 Waverly leads it over Norris, heading to the fourth inning next on All Rib.